Alright, looks like we are live. Welcome in, everyone. Or welcome back, more accurately, as I suppose it's only been an hour since my last stream. I have to do some D&D prep, as I have a game on Sunday. And things have happened, and it's going to be a more challenging prep, I think, than usual. A little bit more challenging, anyway. So I'm gonna go through my sort of usual way that I prep these. I try and make prep go as quickly as possible. I don't like spending time prep. I much prefer spending time running the game. There are some nice bits about prep, like if you're setting up a new game, or like a new campaign, or doing world building, that's always great fun. And coming up with an interesting encounter is really good fun. But when you're sort of doing the day-to-day sort of prep, you know, the making sure you've got all the notes available that you need, that you've got the right stat blocks, that stuff isn't as fun. Okay, so I try to keep that to a minimum. So I use this system. I have a section of previously. This is stuff that has already happened and that is unresolved, so it will come up, it will be important. I then have what I expect to happen in the session. And then what are some things that are not happening yet? They're not. So previously is, I suppose it's not unresolved. Upcoming is unresolved. Previously is more, these are events that have already happened that will have some, presumably some bearing in the future, right? So they're decisions the party have made. There are, for example, the group have joined the Dock Workers Union. That is something that will likely have a bearing for the remainder of the city-based campaign that they're in. I think they've probably got a few sessions left, and then we'll move on to a different thing. This campaign moves around a lot. This section has been in the city, but you know, they'll probably want to move around. They've got a load of loose ends they want to clean up outside of the city, so they'll probably do something about that. So in order to do this prep, what I do is I just update this document. Basically, I delete anything that's no longer relevant, and just try to keep it as small as possible. But this is effectively an entire session plan. Like, from here, if you're not using maps, if you're not using miniatures, if you're not using tokens and all that, you can stop. You've done a prep, you've done a session, good. But, you know, most of us do use a map at the least, or some tokens, and that's something. So we've got a bit more work to do. because with D&D, what you could just do is grab a generic stat block for your enemies and just flavor it. It's called stats as bear. OSR likes to use that a lot. It's less fun, I think, personally, but that's the bit of prep I like, is the coming up with interesting encounters in combat and non-combat. So, first of all, party fled the Harp and Harpy. That is still accurate. They are laying low in the morgue belonging to cleric. I found the name, by the way. Shenna Van Tassarax was the name. Which is like, I think I was trying to set up a Dragonborn with a name like that. They'd arrived as a circus band, Pip the Spectacular and the Dragon Slayers. Inotrari is still happy to offer a truce, but now sees his current animosity to the party is teaching them a lesson in respect. I don't think that's true anymore, based on their actions. I think truce is over. He's technically said it, but yeah, I think we're getting rid of that. The group have joined the Dock Workers Union and are provoking them to strike. They believe that shoddy weapons are being sold to weaken some distant foe. Felix has become the Dock Workers Union leader, Felix being the rogue. He's going to speak to Chief Purser Craddock, who's close with Inotrari. No longer the case. They have the information they were looking for. Felix has become the Dock Workers Union leader. His status is in doubt now. His status is in doubt because what has essentially happened is the Running Man. There is a bounty on all of their heads that is so high that nobody can ignore it. Nobody can ignore it at all. It's 1 million gold pieces. And it's dead or alive, so, you know, it's a rough one. So that's why his status as Union leader is in question. He can possibly still rely on them and maybe convince them to join his side. But it's you know, it's an uphill battle as opposed to an automatic now. Parties resolve to boost their reputation before facing the wizard. They want to get people on their side because they're worried if they take out this person who's behind all of this, who's put this bounty on their head, they take him out, then they're just going to be left with an angry populace of an entire city who are now angry that they've taken out this hero. They need to get them on side, basically. So, our rogue Felix wants to find the Craw Twins. The Craw Twins are the Cray Twins, but lobster folk. It wasn't a huge pun, but you know, it's funny to me personally. So they run a Sahuagin mafia essentially. Wants to find the Craw Twins alone. Owen and Felix want to spend money to buy bards and sort of have them start to essentially running an information campaign there, a marketing campaign. Owen and Ragnar. So Owen is a dwarven fighter, Ragnar's a dwarven cleric, want to find a magic shop and talk to dwarves. So we're going to have to prep something like that because that's what they're heading to try and do now. So they've made it across the city, so they'll be getting to the magic shop now, but they'll probably want to talk to the dwarves as well. The dwarves are not in the magic shop. Elle and Rowan, these are our final two members. Whoops, I accidentally hit Control-N and opened a new document when I'm meant to bold them. I like to bold player names so I can very quickly see who's involved, especially as it gives it this sort of bright red in the scheme I've got. This is Obsidian, if anyone's wondering. Elle and Rowan are investigating the old clans of the city. And trying to sort the Granny Mold problem. Granny Mold is a Myconid sovereign who has lived in the city, in the park in the center of the city, since before it was a city. And she's essentially a sort of spore, mushroom hive mind sort of thing. But the city is growing, and it's growing rapidly, and it's encroaching on the free land, and there's very little space left for Granny Mold. And so she needs to get out of the city. She can't move during the day, and she will likely be mistaken for a monster, especially as there is a monster lurking in the dark at the moment. So they need to get her out of there. They're thinking of using the sewers, but they're trying. That's what they're doing at the moment. They've met Granny Mold and they're sort of waiting there. So this is the problem where I'm sort of hitting a pacing problem. They decided they wanted to go and speak to. First of all, everyone is doing different things at once. Everyone is doing different things at once. So it's a very split party. We've got 3 groups, two pairs, and Felix is the rogue is off on his own. He's not even doing the thing listed here. He's going to want to do that later, and we'll have to worry about that. But his encounter is essentially sorted already because I made the encounter assuming that the whole party would try and do it. So there's a tavern that's full of guards, which is where they used to live, the Harp and Harpy. There was an explosion there, and now it's crawling with guards who are like taking evidence and that sort of thing. They have left behind a priceless artifact they need to recover. So they've sent Felix, who is the rogue, to go and get it, because if anyone could do it, it's Felix. I was sitting there shocked because I thought they would all go because the druid has passed without trace. But there we go. Dee Dee says, assuming the party will, and this is where everything is going to blow up. That's the problem. Yeah, that's absolutely the problem. No plan survives an encounter with the players. Hey, Gabba, welcome in as well. So yeah, they're now all split in 3, but the other pacing problem is that one of the groups is essentially doing nothing. they're waiting until nightfall so that they can move Granny Mold, the druid and the ranger. But everyone else is doing a lot of things that are quite time sensitive, so I can't just do a time skip. So I've got to bring something to them. Now, I've got a couple of ideas, but it's just like, oh, this is a little awkward. In hindsight, I should have just said no. Put my foot down, out of character, out of game, and just went, just go together. You are making your lives way harder. But, you know, they're off. I think I can handle, like, them getting into multiple combats at once. I don't find that a huge problem when it comes to running them. A little tip from me, if anyone needs to run multiple combats at once, is just have the maps all next to each other, put them all into the same initiative, and then just go through the initiative like that. And then just have it almost as if they're different rooms in the same dungeon, you know? Like, technically speaking, they're all very far away from each other, but all you've got to do is pan left in your virtual tabletop or something like that. So that's not too bad. I'm not worried about that. What I'm worried about is having enough things for the druid and the ranger to do while they are essentially just talking to an old mushroom, and they're not even talking about anything important. So it's filling their time with something that they're going to find interesting. That's what we got to do. I also need to update this. Felix wants to find the Craw Twins alone. He does want to do that. I'm actually going to move all of this to the upcoming, because there's a bunch of upcomings. So we're just going to make these individual items, and we're going to put this back. Okay, so we've got a load of upcoming things. This one is happening this session, so we're going to move that to immediately. Owen and Ragnar, want to find a magic shop and talk to dwarves. They're doing that this session. That's happening this session. We have to keep them, some people occupied while they talk to a mushroom. Can I interest you in a tomato with a fork? I'm not doing that. I would rather die. Felix's Shadow returns from the Court of Spring. We've done that one, so we can clear that out. Van Tassarax will come in for work and find 5 fugitives in the morgue. We did that as well. I'm just going to add Jenna Van Tassarax is an uneasy ally now of the party. Actually, there's a little bit more to it. Sorry, she's using this because she's a linked individual. I've got a bio. Van Tassarax has offered to aid the party and has been told not to. Whether she will or not is a different matter. So we can do that. It's the fucking Running Man. That is still happening. That will be happening for a long time. Owen and Ragnar want to find a magic shop and talk to dwarves. Felix has returned to the Harp and Harpy to pick up Owen's armor. Should we give the mushroom backstory where it poisoned people with its spores if they linger too long? It could work, but the mushroom wants their help. So that might not work. I don't know. It's not a terrible idea that maybe something happens accidentally, though. That could maybe work. I've got an idea of maybe like bringing someone along. Welcome into Cheese, and congratulations on redeeming first. I think maybe. Well, currently I can't stress this enough. It's the fucking Running Man. So people are going to be looking everywhere, and this. Well, one of the things is that Granny Mold doesn't want to be seen by people because she's afraid of being mistaken for a monster, as she's a Myconid sovereign. So she's hiding in the forest, which is in the middle of the town. Or the city even. If the people searching for the adventurers look in the forest, and why wouldn't they check the forest? They risk finding Granny Mold. So now it becomes a defensive sort of encounter, doesn't it? You've got or possibly a stealth, possibly a defensive, possibly fleeing. That could work. That could work well, actually. I'm going to put that in, actually, because I think that nails it. So this is going to be L, which is short for Chanterelle, funnily enough. L and Rowan. L and Rowan will hear approaching footsteps. People here to claim the bounty. Granny Mold will have nowhere to run as well. Will have nowhere to run and might be mistaken for a monster. Welcome in, Bree. Welcome in. So this works. This gives them something to do that is more than just literally just chatting with a mic in it, and I just keep cutting back and we're just like telling stories, which is all I managed last time. They were like, well, do you have any stories, Granny Mold? And I was like, all right, I'm gonna have to invent stories in the middle of this combat encounter. So yeah, it was a bit rough. Good evening. Oh, I like that. That's good. That's good, Bree. And a good evening to you. Yeah, so that gives them some stakes in this now, which is good, because, and also they really like combat. I don't know how much I don't know who likes combat least in this party. It's possibly the fighter, which is very funny to me. And he likes combat a lot, but the druid and the ranger are most likely to get into a fight. They are like the most likely to enter a scrap. They really fucking love it. Both players love doing it as well. You have to like combat for D&D. Well, I mean, that's true, but there are like some players prefer to try to resolve something peacefully still. You know, like the bards and the rogues sometimes will like to stealth around something instead. The ranger and the druid here are just, I am just going to eat this person, or I'm just going to shoot this person. And, you know, I make sure I give them people that it's you know, it's very satisfying to kill this person, you know? And they're not like, you know, they're not murder hobos. They're not just going around killing everyone, but they will not hesitate either. They really enjoy a good bit of combat. And they're probably a good pairing, the druid and the rogue, because the druid's a really good tank. And the rogue... Oh, sorry, not the rogue. The druid and the ranger. And the ranger is a good high DPS sort of character. Genuinely so high on the modifiers on everything, this ranger, and this is just purely raw, that I actually paused the game and checked in on the ranger player and on how she was doing when she missed an attack roll. Because it just doesn't happen. I think she had missed one. That was the first attack roll she had missed in 18 sessions. And I run a relatively combat heavy game. She rolled a natural 1 and just, oh, terrible. She needed a 2 to hit. Rangers have absurd attack modifiers in 5e. Just absurd. She's regularly going, that's like 27 to hit. And I'm like, yeah, that'll hit. So those two will have some fun doing a bit of combat, standing up for someone who needs help. They'll love that. They'll really enjoy that. So that's great. So we'll have to do a combat encounter, but I reckon we'll do some thugs. Thugs is always good fun. Toughs now in 2024. monster manual. Felix's encounter is already ready because it was built for an entire party. But I'm not changing it. He decided to go on his own. He is going to take the risk. The player is gonna fucking love discovering that this armor has nipples on it, and he's going to relish the opportunity to tell Owen, who is a very dour, very sour grape sort of character, played by a very happy-go-lucky person, but very serious. We must get down to business, and I must defend the honor of the dwarven clans and that sort of thing. That it has nipples on it. The armor's blacksmith was a goblin by the name of Raynar Bogcleave. Imagine a goblin with Fabio's hair. So I've done the Performer Legend. I actually did the Performer Legend against Owen and Felix. Owen and Ragnar, the two dwarves, as they were off to the shops. I will add, Iris, the Performer Legend, got away. She's not done with them. I'm imagining Hanan is in a wig. Yeah. Raynar Bogcleave is one of my more recurring characters. So that was a great fight. And then I used the gladiators and berserkers with the brass instruments against Felix in the end. So we can get rid of that bit. So these challenges are all kind of done. Oh no, I can leave those in for Owen and Ragnar. Felix is arrived at the destination, so he doesn't have to worry about much else. Except what's at the destination, which is, I can't stress this enough, 30 people keeping watch. he's in danger. So that's good. We can keep that. We got all of this. Okay. Felix is going to be doing this all session, I think. Whoops. Felix is going to be doing this all session. I can't imagine him spending less than the entire session sneaking through this place. I need to update to pick up Owen's armor. And then how many asterisks can I put in this before it gets annoyed? And also the fucking legendary artifact that they once again left behind. So that's why they're going back. It's all right. It's only a piece of a legendary sword that is causing what is effectively Mass Effect's The Reapers to turn up. It'll be fine. Right. So, what do I need to prep for the rest of the session? Not Felix. Not Owen and Felix. We got to sort out a combat for Ellen Rowan with the thugs, and then I think I'm just going to have to improvise from there, but I'm going to make it very clear that Granny Mold believes that she's got to leave now and she's going to need help. So that'll be good. These are all still happening. Honestly, this is going to come into the session when they're talking to the dwarves. So we're going to have to put some prep in for that. Let's see. Felix is making a production to market this part of the city. That's just still in the works, so that's fine. Rowan is researching the star spawn. I can give info later. Yeah, no, we got ages left on all of those. Hi, Gifted Gabby. I'm doing well. Hope you're doing well. I've had a great day. I was an official co-streamer for the Triple I Initiative about 2 hours ago, and there were just some fantastic games being announced in that program. I never spell mold right. You know what? We're going with O. I'm not spelling it out for the people when I'm when I'm running the game. So Felix is sorted. We're good on Felix. Ellen Rome, we need a combat encounter, or we need some adversaries that are sort of lurking in the forest. Mold in this context. Thank you very much, Catbat. And that's why you're the editor and I'm the writer. I say as if you're not also a writer. Okay, let's have a think. You're the what now? Didn't you edit a huge chunk of Ben's book? Or were you doing proof? Were you doing proofs? Layout? I can't remember. You did something with Ben's book. Writer? More like wronger. God damn it. Okay. Yeah, I kind of want this to be ordinary people, right? I don't want this to be magical people. I want this to be ordinary people, pitchforks, farm equipment, and things like that. You know? And a relatively large crowd, because I want them to think twice about attacking them. I want them, they can, but I want them to have that conflict, that internal conflict there. And I feel like they will. Rowan, I think, is probably more likely to just go for it, and Elle, I think, will have second thoughts. Big Tooth says, hey, I'm starting a D&D campaign and DMing. Do you have any pointers? My biggest pointer is to not prepare too much. Start really small. I would say start with a single place. A dungeon is really good for this, like 5-6 rooms. A dungeon is great just because it lowers the amount of things you're going to have to improvise and pull out on the spot. Because dungeons are sort of small rooms without too much else going on. You know, it's not like someone's going to turn around and go and talk to someone you're not expecting or something like that. My other general advice, and I think this is really, really important advice for new DMs, don't prep a story. Prep a situation, okay? And what I mean by that is, for example, let's say you are doing a social encounter where the party are going to beseech the Lord in his castle for military aid, right? The situation, that's it, you're done. The situation is there is a king or a lord, and he's got an army, and they need the army. That's already the situation. You're already done prepping. If you want to make it more complicated, find a reason that the Lord does not want to give them the army. For example, I don't know them. Why am I giving you an army? Absolutely not. For another reason, I have an army on the border that I have to worry about. They'll attack if I give you my army. You know, things like that, right? Don't go and decide what the outcome will be. Never decide what the outcome will be. Because the players will always surprise you, right? I say a lot, no plan survives contact with the players. So having providing a situation and then just sort of seeing what they do is the safer way of doing it. It also is how you avoid accusations of railroading and things like that, which is where you sort of force someone down a plot. You don't want that to happen. Another great example is, let's say you want to do a larger campaign, like something really big that's going to go for ages and ages and ages. Think of who your big villain is. Think of what they're doing and start having them do that. Don't think of a plot of, oh, they'll encounter the villain here, then the villain's going to say this and then going to escape. Because first of all, the villain could die then. Just have that situation. Give the villain a plan and have them continue to act out that plan. Because the amount of free will that the players have, and you want to foster that, that's the best part about D&D. You don't want to decide where it's going next, because it might not, right? Give to Gabby says, what campaign am I planning today? This is a homebrew campaign that I am running for a group on Start Playing. So this is a paid campaign that I'm running. Their ultimate goal here is, well, they've been told they've been told by a Fey Queen to kill a wizard who's the most powerful man in the city. And then they've recently decided that the wizard has to die. Because firstly, the first half of it was them just sort of going, well, we've been told to kill this person, but everything we see is that this person seems to be a hero. Why would we want to, and they've been trying to like tease out why, and they're starting to sort of unravel a plot here where it turns out this wizard has been using his ability to see the future through divination magic to effectively eliminate political opposition and make it look like he's saving the world all the time, and things like that. So now they're sort of getting onto his bad side, and so he's now starting to act more strongly against them. So that's the campaign for that. Yeah. Big Two says we have 20 plus players and 3 DMs. Thank you so much. You've been really struggling. That is a lot. That is a lot of players. Yeah. Wow. For just starting out, that I would say too many. Are you? I presume they're not all playing at the same time. Is this some sort of West Marches situation? If you're not familiar with West Marches, that's where you have a large group of players and DMs, but you only sort of run for a small group of people at once. And, there's like individual quests going on and that sort of thing. Gift to Gabby says, my head hurts. Might only hang out for a bit. Oh, no worries. No worries, Gift to Gabby. Do rest well. Yeah. I appreciate you being here. Yeah, that's a lot of players. That's a lot of work. I will say in general, if it helps, having a large number of players actually kind of means you have to prep less, because what the large number of players will do is talk to each other. And so because they're talking to each other, that's any time the players are talking to each other, that's time you didn't have to prep for. It also means combats are going to take a long time. Pacing is going to be a difficult thing for you to start with. Do not expect too much out of yourself for your first time. But one thing I will say is you're going to feel like you made a shitload of mistakes. You're going to feel like you did really badly. Your players are going to disagree. I promise you that. Because you're the only one who knows behind the curtain, right? You're the only person who's seen your notes. You're the only person who's gonna see the things that you forgot or missed. The item on the line on the stat block that you missed that meant that I don't know that they were immune to that damage type or whatever. You're the only person who's gonna know that. What they're gonna have is a wonderful time. So don't beat yourself up after the first game. It's very easy to do that. I think first time you run a game, it's very easy to beat yourself up afterwards. But in actuality, you'll find you probably did a lot better of a job than you thought you did. You want to prep your D&D Eberron campaign, but headache. Oh yeah, Eberron's lovely. I wouldn't mind running an Eberron game. I've not had a chance to do it, but Eberron is just wonderful. Oh, thank you for the follow. I love that mix of magic and technology, and I just really like the lightning trains. I think that's the that's the thing I just love the most. I also love Blades in the Dark, and it also has lightning trains. So maybe it's lightning trains is the cool thing. Right. Let's do a. Let's do a combat. I'm going to see if I can get the tool that I normally use to work. It hasn't been working lately for me, but we shall see. If not, we'll do it manually. Yeah, it's not working. I don't know why. It works fine like in an incognito window, so it's something in my own version of it. That's fine. That's fine. That's fine. So I have somewhere. There we go. Encounter budgets. Let's pop that to the right there. I feel like I need more than 5 viewers. I seem like a great guy. Oh, thank you, Big Tooth. I often do have more than 5. This one is a weird day. I didn't announce that I was going to be doing this until 15 minutes before. I'm not expecting too many people to turn up, to be honest. But that's all right. You know, I have other days where I get more. But I appreciate that. Thank you. Right. So we got 2 people. So we'd probably want to go on the high end of danger for this. Not least because we've got the biggest tank in the party here. So I'm gonna go for high difficulty. Yeah, as Catbat says, this is me fighting procrastination by turning the task into content. By streaming doing it, I'm forcing myself to do it. Because otherwise, I will just sit and I'll play Slay the Spire until Sunday comes around and I have to do the game. And that will be a problem. Wait, what is happening? Oh, wow. I think I've just completely broken this thing. I think I've broken my browser. Oh, no. I was trying to open up the DMG. Not the DMG, even. What's it called? The Monster Manual. That's it. I should know the word Monster Manual. I should know that. And yeah, here we are. You're using this very stream to procrastinate. Proud of you, Keba. You've been DMing for 8 years. I fear the players can smell my fear and anxiety. Don't have a good poker face. Yeah. I thought I was really bad. I thought I was really bad at hiding when I don't know something. But I have found my players have several times, and some of them are here, have several times thought I'd had an incredible plan and engineered a situation when I was ad-libbing all the way through and like improvising all the way through, which, you know, made me feel very happy to hear. So it clearly doesn't show across on face. I failed to realize you're buffoons. That's true, Brie. Brie is one of my players. Probably played in more games I've run than anyone else, I think. I think that probably tracks. Yeah. But yeah, apparently you're persistent. You're a menace. Yeah, no, apparently when I'm like floundering, apparently people don't notice it. I think it's because at that point you're just like looking at your own notes. Right, I want some thugs. I want to have like, there's 2 of them. I want them to be pretty outnumbered. I'm thinking about 20 people. So with an XP budget of about 6,200, that leaves me with 310 each. Oh, obviously we can change that up a bit and have some like bigger, scarier people if we need to. What is that? CR2? CR2's 450, so it's going to be CR1. So we want about 20 CR1 characters. So I'm thinking CR1, we're looking at Tufts, maybe? Tufts CR a half. We could put in maybe half of them are Tufts. So that's 10 Tufts at 1,000 XP. And then we got, Jesus, 5,200 left. What about the tough boss? Could have tough bosses. They're 1,100 each. That actually works. That probably works great. So let's say we have what? 4 tough bosses, right? 4 tough bosses. The CR4 each, so 1,100 each, giving us 4,400. We probably do 5 tough bosses. Let's do 5 tough bosses. 5 tough bosses. 5x tough boss. That's suitably scary. They're not going to die instantly, but then we want a big old horde. I love some minions. And toughs are CR half. So 5 tough bosses is going to be worth 5,500. That gives us 700 XP left. They're worth 100 each, so we're going to have 7 tough. It's only 12. It's only 12 in total. Maybe we take down another one of these. 4 tough bosses, 16 toughs. Something like that. So that's going to be what, 4,400. That goes to 6,000, so which is just a little under the high threshold. But it's not bad. I want there to be a lot of characters here because I'm threatening an NPC. The objective here is not win the combat encounter, it's protect Granny Mold. So I think that works. Because I've got enough people, I can then just get in there and really risk them. What benefits do I get here? Pack tactics. Hilarious. Okay. And then with the mace, which we'll reflavor that to a club or something like that. We'll keep the damage, though. It's only a D6 already. I'm not bringing it down to a D4. It's a great club if it has to. Or like a bit of lead pipe, you know? They're improvising with their weapons. +4 with advantage. Should be able to hit them. You know, it's not like their armor class is just going to destroy them. It's a druid and a ranger. Their armor class isn't absurd anyway. And with the tough boss, what do we got? More pack tactics. A warhammer. So we're going to say maybe it's a sledgehammer or something. You know, maybe they're construction workers. Something like that. Stick with rock, Breath of the Wild style. I love stick with rock. And also, thank you, Catbad. I appreciate it, but it will not stay in my brain. And you'll know why. Okay, I think that's good. That's that combat done. That's gonna keep them occupied for a little bit. And because we're swapping between them all, we don't have to occupy them for like a 3-hour session each. So that should do it. Felix is returning that right. Yeah, we've done that one. It's Owen and Ragnar is left. Owen and Ragnar want to find a magic shop and talk to dwarves. I don't even know why they want to find a magic shop. Scrolls. That was it. They wanted to find a scroll shop specifically. I was going to say they've got so many magic items. They have way more magic items than they should do because they conned a magic item shop owner. I thought a very reasonable con, so I allowed it. And, you know, the Bard Rogue is a con man. It's what he does. I set a very high DC 30, and they beat it. And so I was like, you know what? Fair enough. You can have 1 million gold pieces worth of magic items. Yeah, which was a lot. So, oops. So this challenge is going to really come in when they move between Scroll Shop and talking to the dwarves, I think. For a Scroll Shop, do I need anything? I need an NPC. All right. Scroll Shop is called... We need a silly name. We've already got places like the Harp and Harpy. We've got Davide Smith's Exotic Animals and Wilbur Smith's Otic Animals. Scroll Shop. Squiggy's Inkwell. That's quite nice. Doom scrolling. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. I used to do a magic shop, an alchemy shop, so it was potions and such, called VSM, which I was very proud of. Like, it's like an upmarket, like, boutique place, but VSM is the 3 types of material component in a magic spell. Verbal, somatic, and material, sorry. The 3 types of component. But it doesn't fit here, but doom scrolling is good. And I think they'll enjoy that as well. They like a bit of the comedy to it. I don't try to put comedy in. I follow the Chris Perkins advice that D&D is inherently silly. So you don't need to work to put it in there. Just let it happen naturally. You don't need to do comedy D&D. D&D is already comedy. And this is from the guy who wrote Strahd. So, yeah. Yeah, I'm doom scrolling. I like it. I don't mind a silly name. I like that. Just a little light silliness is always nice in a D&D game, I think. Unless you're doing like a really dark and grim sort of game, in which case, yeah, maybe not. But also maybe don't do it in D&D where you have a chance of rolling a nat 1 to do something, because that's where the comedy comes in. It's the nat 1s. Scroll shop, doom scrolling. Okay, so we need a proprietor. Let me see. Who haven't I haven't brought out certain species yet. Just purely not having had the time. So who haven't I included yet? Because this is meant to be a very multicultural city. We've had Kenku. We've had Drow. We've had elves in general. We've had humans. We've had gnomes. We've had dwarves. We haven't had halflings yet. So orphlings. Halflings is an option. We've killed the orphan slide whistle. You joke, but that is legitimately a plot point in the Oxventure D&D series. Build the orphanage for you, boss. Oh, where did you get the stone for it? It's made of orphans, boss. Let's see. Halfling is an option. Halfling is an option, and it's not bad. It was such an iconic moment. Yeah, it was great. It was very clever. I think one of their better like pure comedy moments. I personally prefer the series where they're not doing pure comedy and the comedy is happening naturally. Like I would say their Blades in the Dark game particularly is a good example. I mean, they are doing some comedy in there. All players are comedians. They always are. You're gonna get that. But like the setup is not intended to be comedy. But you know, I still really enjoyed the first series or the first campaign. Proprietor. Make him an animate scarecrow. They won't try to rob the place, Mr. Blue. Not these two. These two are the most lawful characters. We have a cleric here of Moradin and a fighter dwarf who also devoutly believes in Moradin. And they're both like really super devout and moral. To a little bit of like juicy conflict with the rest of the party in a positive way. Like they're all on board with it, and you know I obviously make sure to watch over when it's happening. But you know, you have this extremely upstanding cleric and then a druid who has eaten a person, and the fighter is relatively new to the party and sort of sees in the cleric a kindred spirit, a fellow dwarf who is devout to this god, but then learns about all the things that the cleric has let go, you know, and is like, well, what has happened to your faith, man of the cloth? And it's things like that, and you're like, oh, that's juicy. And you know, and to the extent that the cleric is just like, I really want to do more scenes like that, and so we try to put more and more stuff in on that side. You ever thought of Modron running like an automaton? Because why would the proprietor run the shop himself when he could order? Oh, I do like that. Do I name the Modron Grok, the Modron proprietor of doom scrolling? Is that too much? It's too much. I've already decided it's too much. Yeah, work is getting replaced by AIs. I like this. I like this. We're gonna have a Modron named, and we're not calling him Grok. I'm not doing it. Gemini. We're not. No, I'm not doing it. It's too far. It's too far. Suggest the joke no further. That's what I got it. And I'm not telling you lot to do this. This is reminding myself. I haven't ever decided what Modrons are like in the worlds I do. I always think that you know, if you're running a homebrew game, don't really, you know, go too much into what the books say a character has to be. Start to customize it, you know, make it a bit more personal. So for me, a mod ROM, what is their naming convention? I don't mind the idea of numbers, but it's already the like duodrones, pentadrones, and all that. So it's already there's numbers in there. What if they are named? Hinton. Why Hinton? Shop owner is Dave, and the mod runner is she's completing herself. So I'm sorry, Dave. I'm afraid I can't do that. HAL 9000. Yeah. Hinton is the grandfather of AI. Oh my god. Yeah, we don't need that much lore. We don't need that much lore. We just need a name. I am going to call this... simple. Axiom. There we go. Oh, no. I use red for players so I can track it. Axiom. Although, isn't Axiom one of the gods? Hang on. Nope. Good. Okay. I've invented that. Okay. Proprietor Modron named Axiom. I always add a quirk. Let's add a quirk. Modrons are quirky already. What would this one do? Glitches occasionally? Yeah, let's do that. Occasionally glitches. As for what scrolls they want, I'm just going to let them have any scrolls. As long as they pay for it. There's magic item pricing in Xanathars, so I can just use that. They're going to need as much help as they can get. And I don't think... See, I'm very proud of my D&D party, but they intend to kill this wizard, and they've never once tried to scope out where the wizard is. Like, they know where the wizard lives. In a place called the Inverted Tower, and they've never gone to see what is there. Which is funny, because one of the critical things about this Inverted Tower that I've had, you know, in my notes forever, just in case they go and have a look at it, is there's this giant chunk of calcified negative energy called a null stone at its heart, and it's like a inverted cone, hence the Inverted Tower, going down into the earth with this thing hovering over it, almost like the Arecibo telescope array, right? But that nullstone is emitting anti-magic. It is an anti-magic field that shuts off magic, and the reason it's there is as a safety measure for the wizard. The wizard's, you know, trying to prevent people from spying on him and that sort of thing. It is there, and he's got these like massive lead shutters that he can put over the windows when he wants to cast spells, and so his lair actions are like raising and lowering the shutters to put people in and out of anti-magic zones. Really cool fucking encounter if we ever get to it, but they've never gone to have a look and see what they might be dealing with. So strange. So they don't yet know that, yeah, sure, you can go and get a load of scrolls, but will they work? Mr. Blue says, we had an encounter in Nordmark recently with a merchant selling scrolls of power word kill. Very specifically, power word kill. That's cool. I like that. I like that. Yeah, so I think that's that bit. We now just need to do the, talking to the dwarves. Okay. So what they want to do is get the dwarves on side. For anyone that doesn't know, in Nord map, Power Wood Kill is a spell, no longer works. Ergo, worthless scrolls. Yep. Yeah, that was something the Guild of Icons did. If you really want them to get them to go to the inverted tower, maybe the Modron shop owner glitches align with nullstone surges or fluxes. That's was by nullstone surges. Yeah, that's a good idea. Just to sort of prod them to go and maybe have a look at this thing. Because I worry that they're going to get all their prep, arrive, and then go, well, fuck, you know? But, I mean, if that happens, it happens, right? That's why you make Plan B. And if anything, it's dramatically interesting if you have to do a Plan B. Okay, so talking to dwarves, they want to... first of all, they need to find dwarves. That shouldn't be too hard. Then they're going to be appealing to a community leader is the sort of plan that they have. So we're going to need a community leader. And then they're just going to... They want to try and make... try to raise an army almost of dwarves. Because the dwarves are getting the short shift here in the city. They're not being allowed to build anything. They're requiring to submit a shitload of paperwork before they can build anything. Can you tell I would like to own a house someday? But no, they're just sort of unallowed. That's not a word. They're unpermitted. They're basically all permits they submit to try and build anything in the city are being denied. And the reason is the wizard himself is a dwarf who hates his former clan. So yeah, find dwarves, appealing to a community leader, getting them on side. I mean, this is going to be 90% just improv, right? Arvid Warbringer holding a grudge and... Oh, that's good. That's a good name. Arvid. I want... I've done a lot of male dwarves. I haven't done any... Actually, I've done a lot of female dwarves. Actually, I haven't done many male ones. Let's bring in Arvid. Arvid Warbringer. Because I was just remembering, like, the ghost of a dwarf they found in the mines of Zosivex was Crystrid Sharpaxe. There was a dwarven shopkeeper. Yeah, Arvid Warbringer, Peace Cleric. No, the Peace Cleric has anxiety. The Peace Cleric is Shenna Van Tassarax, who has anxiety. I thought the concept of a Peace Cleric with anxiety was just beautiful, and I wanted to keep that. She seeks the one thing that eludes her. Arvid Warbringer. He's a 4-dwarf. And his quirk... What are we going to do for his quirk? Scratches his ass? No, that's too much. Digs fingers into ears while talking. That's a good quirk. Arvid Warbringer, 4-dwarf, quirk, digs fingers into ears while talking. As this is a negotiation, we should have some goals. Yeah. I like holds grudges, but that's just because that's a classic Warhammer dwarf. Holds grudges. Won't work without pay. Or let his dwarves do the same. So they're gonna have to pay all of the dwarves. And you know what? They have 400,000 gold pieces. They can do it. But it's whether they do actually do it. They might instead try to do a convincing or something like that, because these are not the charismatic characters. I keep doing bold when I mean italic. Right. That's going to be basically the session. Because you got to remember, we're going to be flitting between this and the other thing and this and the other thing. You know, there's 3 simultaneous plots happening. Felix is going to be in big trouble. This is the one I worry about. There's a very good chance Felix loses. He's up against, as I say, 30 guards, some of them very high stats. The way I'm going to run it is, anytime he tries to sneak past someone, anyone who could potentially see him is going to be rolling to spot him. So it's a contested check, perception versus his stealth. Now, his stealth is good. He's a 10th level rogue, so he's an 11th level rogue now. He's got reliable talent. That's a point. The budgets have just gone up. Shit, hang on. I need to rebudget this combat encounter. They just hit 11th level. He set himself up for an ass beating? Yeah. Now, I already know what'll happen if he fails. He's not going to die. He's going to be captured, which is a fantastic dramatic device because, 1, rogues are really good at slipping their bonds and escaping, and 2, the rest of the party will have to do something. There's also there's every chance he passes. That's the interesting thing, is a rogue, once they hit 10th level, gains a feature called Reliable Talent. It's actually 8th level now, I think, in 2024. Gains a feature called Reliable Talent. And Reliable Talent means that if you make a check that you have proficiency in... 7th level. You cannot roll less than a 10 on the die. So if you roll like a 5, that's a 10. And then you add your modifiers. So there is a very good chance he succeeds, but there's also a very good... It's high risk, high reward. So I think he's got expertise in stealth. So at 11th level, his proficiency bonus is plus... Is it plus 4? I think proficiency bonus changes at a different cadence. Yeah, it'll change. Oh, it is plus 4. So expertise is plus 8. He cannot roll less than an 18 on stealth, which is pretty good. He's going up against things like warrior commanders, whose proficiency is plus 7. So against a warrior commander, he's got a roughly 60% chance, I think, of succeeding. Against a normal guard, which is what makes up most of the forces, he's got, let's see, passive perception of 12, which means we've got a plus 2. He's got about, oh Jesus, plus 2. So I've got to roll 16 or higher. Yeah, so he's got something like an 80% chance to succeed. So, you know, it works. Welcome in, Dr. Lion of Kamar. Am I winning? I think so. I think we're onto something good. I just need to put in a contingency for if everything goes wrong. So, again, failure. So, if he fails and he's going to be captured, thrown in jail, and how nice am I feeling? See, he's part bard, and he's a con man. Do I give him a trial? I think I almost am literally a bad DM if I don't give the con man a chance to have his day in court, right? I got to do it. Trial and then execution. That's what awaits him. Obviously, there are several steps here where that can be interrupted by both himself, in cases of, like, thrown in jail, maybe he can escape. Trial, he can maybe talk his way out of it, which would be very impressive. And he would love. It's AO Dunwich all over again. It is AO Dunwich all over again. How does it keep happening? Yeah. I don't know if any of you have watched the Legends of Advantris D&D game, but he plays Felix very much like in the Once Upon a Witch-like game, the character Kremi, the circus runner. He plays him very similarly to that, with, I would say, as much skill. I'm eternally impressed about how this guy, who I taught how to play the game, like last year, is putting in what I think would genuinely be good enough to put him on like something like Critical Role or something like that with his role playing. It is absurd. It is absurd how good at it he is. Like, he is showing me up massively at this point. But you know, I'll take it. It's AO all the way down. Yeah. So yeah, I've got to give him a chance for trial. There is still the chance, though, he just succeeds. In which case, good on him. He's going to walk back to a hero's welcome, I think, and he will have earned it. So yeah, that's good. Okay, we're good there. I know what I was doing. I was sorting out the budgets, wasn't I? Because they've gone up a level, so I need to change that. Plan encounters in the DMG. What's the budget for 11th level now? Okay. So it's 1,900 times 5 now, which is 9,500. Then it is, at moderate, it is 2,900. Times 5, which is 14,500. And then at high, it is 4,100, which just makes this 20,500 as the budget for 5 people. And then down here, it is times 2, which is going to make that easier. So 8,200. I can probably put a few more big toughs in. For sure. 5,800. And then this one is 3,800. Okay, so back to this. There were 4 tough bosses. They were 1,100 each, if I remember rightly. We're going to make that 6 tough bosses. 6 tough bosses, 6,600. We're operating on a high budget for this fight. That gives us 1,600 left, which is conveniently exactly 16 toughs, actually. Nailed it. Nailed it. Okay, good. That's a scary fight. And I think it should worry them. They need to be worried. Okay. So we're good on Felix. We're good on them. Good on this talk. I don't know if they need to enter a combat in between. I think they're okay. They've already had a combat. We've got Iris, the Performer Legend. She could turn up again. There's always the chance. Honestly, the Performer Legend was very fun stat block. But I think we're good. I think that's the session. I think that's a whole D&D session. And obviously, that's taken, what, an hour and 10, but I've been chatting and all that. Honestly, if I sit down and I knuckle through it, I can do this in about 10 minutes. giving you about 20 more minutes to sort of get maps, get stat blocks ready, and things like that. But because I've just sort of, been talking through it, and also this is a somewhat more complicated session than usual. But I hardly recommend this. What is the previous? What is happening right now? What's upcoming? It's so good. This is what D&D specifically recommends now. So if you have the DMG, there are PDFs, tracking sheets that they put in. And I think this is roughly what is in the campaign journal, I think it's called. Yeah, here it is. Hang on. Let me bring it up. I'm going to brief warning for anyone looking in the evening on a dark monitor. This will not be dark mode, okay? All right? You've been warned. So here's the campaign journal. So, yeah, all right, session number and all that. Events from earlier sessions that might have a bearing on this session. Brief summary of what's planned. Additional notes. That's all they have. And a cute picture of a hellhound puppy. That's all you need to prepare a session. I fundamentally agree. Yeah, all the tracking sheets on the DMG all have baby versions of various monsters, which I find cute. The Bastion track has a baby mime on it, for example. Anyway, that's all the prep that we need to do. So I'm gonna quickly turn the light on, get myself another drink, and then we're gonna move over to do some TTRPG writing. And I'm going to work a little bit on Breach together. We'll design some moves or talents or equipment or something like that. So bear with me just a sec while I go get a drink. You should probably get some hydration and move around as well. And we'll be right back. Hello, I'm back. Did the music stop? Oh no, it's just really quiet. It's just on a bit of really quiet music. Okay. Yeah, let's swap over. I'm going to swap over to on Twitch. I'm going to swap over to TTRPGs. These tabletop role-playing games. Nope, not found. Okay, let's just do it manually. Ah, it's tabletop RPGs. Okay. Alright. And I'll just name it Breach. Why does it think I'm doing... you know what? It's fine. Okay. Breach. Breach. There we go. So... I don't want to do moves today. I think there are enough moves to do a playtest, because you do not need many. I think I want to work on... Talents, I got plenty. I want to work on equipment, because this is an equipment fantasy game. So I want to make some more. I'm okay for armor, because I just really want to make it armor class, essentially. So none, light, medium, heavy is fine. I'll work on the bulk later. That's something that needs testing. We're good on bags. Weapons, right? We got the basics, but I want to find some interesting tweaks to weapons, okay? So for those watching along, Breach is an RPG I'm making myself. It is a tactical sort of breach and clear sort of RPG. So if you've ever played Tactical Breach Wizards, that's a very good one to take from it. But it's also sort of geared towards things like Die Hard and that sort of thing, recreating that sort of vibe, you know? It's very much an equipment fantasy, so we want good equipment on there. So we've got things like knives, pistols, SMGs, shotguns, assault rifles, LMGs, sniper rifles, anti-material rifles, and grenade launchers. But there's other things that you can use as a weapon. And so I would like to... and also other types of equipment, actually. You know, there's like... We've got weapon mods as options to do. We've got utility items that I have not dug into very much yet, and actually that might be the thing to do. Because I think utility is probably where the equipment fantasy comes in the most. Like this, customizing your weapon is fun, but I think for this game, it's in how you approach the situation and how you get the drop on the enemy. Yeah. I think that might be collapsible. That looks even more wrong. You know what? We'll leave it. I'm not editing. I'm not editing. So, what is something we're missing here? I know what we're missing, actually. Drones. Right? Drones. We need drones. I'm in a couple of minds about drones, because drones should exist, I think. They're certainly highly useful. My concern is, my first instinct is make it a platform that you can customize, right? So you get a drone that can carry a certain amount of weight, and you can put a certain amount of weight on it, but then it'll do the thing that you're customizing it for, right? That's cool. But I think if I do that, everyone's going to take drones. Because it's cool. And I can't offer that customizability to every object. And that's going to mean people are lacking certain things. Having one drone in the party probably makes sense. Having 8 is probably too much when you might need something as simple as cable ties. But then you're not going to ask someone to give up the cool thing. It's like, it'd be like saying we can't all be warlocks, you know? But without offering anything as fun. Now, part of me goes, well, does that mean we need to offer that customization on everything and make them all equally fun? And I don't know if that works. Like, we can customize weapons, and I'm already offering some customization. We can probably do more. But, like, how do you customize cable ties, right? No, I'm going to resist that urge. You know what? If the game takes off and I make a drone supplement that lets you customize your drone in the future, you can clip this and send it back to me. But until then, we're going to just create some pre-made drones, okay? So, the most obvious one is a scouting drone, right? Scouting drone. What other types of drone would you want? Scout is obvious. Something that can deliver a single shot. Or a grenade. Probably put those under weapon systems. What is interesting about a drone? It can move through three-dimensional space. It is not very quiet. It's quite agile. It can be automated or remote piloted. Both of those are very interesting. They can carry equipment or they can transmit information. I think those are sort of the clear things when you're sitting down and you're thinking about drones. Those are the things that they can definitely do. So transmitting information, we've already got scouting drone. Carrying equipment around or an object around. The question is why? Grenade is an obvious one. We see this in the Ukraine war. It becomes a grenade launcher that can go around corners, right? Get something to another party member? Yeah, that could help because often the parties will be like splitting up. Decoy drone is not a bad shout. I'd almost say you could do that with any drone. And I think that would come under improvising with your equipment. Yeah, a delivery drone can carry some amount of bulk for you at the cost of it being relatively loud. I mean, are there silent drones? There's a question. Let's have a look. We've compared noise profiles on drones. Okay. How far away can I hear you? What's the... Give me numbers. Give me numbers on the loudness. Like do an actual sound thing. Damn it. Smoke drone. That's not bad. An assistant drone, which gives you an extra action by doing it for you at the cost of inventory space, or lets you trade one sort of action for another. It's not terrible either. Yeah. Is there any monetary cost factor for the equipment? Because you could basically feature gate functions with currency. At the moment, no. What I'm doing with the items is you effectively have access to what is called all basic equipment, and all basic equipment is all equipment. But equipment comes with like listed upgrades, and those you only get by succeeding on missions. So let me find an example of an upgrade. Here we go. The climbing kit that lets you like get up places really easily has an upgrade that gives a quick release harness that lets you take it off, let you detach yourself from the harness without spending an action. Which means if you're like going in for a window and breaching for a window, you can now do that really quickly, whereas everyone else will be slightly slower going through the window. That costs completing a mission in order to get one. And so you sort of build up your class by upgrading your equipment like that. So we can do that though with the drones. So we could have it as an upgrade silent, which actually makes sense on the scouting drone. Yeah. No, Envis is saying exactly the same right now, actually. Yeah. So let's put the upgrade in. Upgrade. Silent. The scouting drone cannot be heard. Yeah, we got the same brain cell. Bulk of about 4, I think, the scanning drone. Let's make it 3. It's a little bit smaller than a collapsible ladder, I would say. Scouting drones. Scanning drones fly quietly, but not silently. They are audible within 10 inches. So this is, again, I'm using inches to be a square, so 10 squares. So that's 50 feet. You're 50 feet away from the scouting drone. You are going to be, you're going to hear it. You know what I'm going to say, though? I'm going to say that they are much quieter when they are not moving. Leading to a sort of, because that leads to a really interesting sort of stealth thing that you see in movies, because it's again based on movie logic, not real logic, where the drone sort of stops and it's quieter because it's not actively moving, it's just hovering. While moving, while hovering, they are audible within 2 inches. So it's just like, woof, and stop, and hovers. Must have been the wind. Yeah, exactly. Exactly, Embers. Must have been the wind. God, we really are using the same brain cell. But that means that the person controlling the drone has to think about when to move. They have to use their skills. So it doesn't become a replacement for it. So I think that works well. They're essentially still stealthing, but stealthing via a drone, which means that they can potentially get to locations they wouldn't have been able to otherwise. Drones, what am I trying to say here? No, I think that's it. We can have another upgrade. Whoops. We can have another upgrade. Because you choose your upgrades. Automated. The scouting drone does not need to be manually piloted. An autonomous drone follows basic instructions and until it receives new instructions. That's a really shit way of writing that sentence, but basically that it's not making its own decisions. It's given an instruction and it follows that. Drones are typically piloted. While piloting a drone, an operator has to... What did I decide to call Banes again? We had boons and something. Blunders? Buggerances? We had a word for it. Burdens, that was it. Burdens, that was it. Two burdens. The head checks. Head checks. An automated drone has essentially got a held action. Well, it's doing whatever it was told. They're almost like the old Ranger Animal Companion, where it was like it does what it's told until you tell it to do another thing. Two burdens, two head checks. You know what? An operator is blind to their surroundings. Otherwise, it's too weighty, and we essentially want the operator to be blinded to their surroundings. I think that works. So that's the scouting drone. Let's add transport drone. That's not how we do that. Delivery drone, maybe we'll call it. This is bulk 4 because it's a larger one. Delivery drones. They have a speed of 4 inches. 13. Drones have a speed of 4 inches per turn. There we go. I don't have to worry about like initiative or anything because the way I do initiative doesn't care about that. Delivery drones fly slowly and loudly, but can carry up to a bulk 4 item. Yes, a delivery drone could deliver another delivery drone. Carry up to a bulk 4 item. Yeah, audible within 20 inches while moving. I'm not going to give them the stand still quieter bit. That's just for the scouting drone. They have a speed of 3 inches per turn. We'll just copy that bit because that's going to be true for all drones. Upgrade. So I think the most obvious upgrade is I want to carry more stuff, right? Upgrade. Heavy blades. Heavy blades. Upgrade. What am I going to call it? Oversized motors. Heavy motors? Heavy motors is probably... Heavy motors is fine. Upgrade heavy motors. The delivery drone can carry up to bulk 6. And then we'll give them the automated, because, you know, you might want to just say, hey, take that over to there. Does it need to say while moving if it's not quieter while hovering, or can it not hover? That's a very good point, NeoGets. Thank you very, very much. Audible within 20 inches. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. The delivery drone does not need to be manually piloted. Yeah, blah. I think this is fine, and I think this could be used to weaponize the drone by having it carry a grenade or something like that. Honestly, that makes it more versatile, and I think I'm fine with that. It's loud. It can be shot out of the sky. I need to put combat stats in here for it. Not many. Obviously, it's not going to be attacking or anything like that, but I think that's fine. Like, it's a costly thing to take because the thing that you're budgeting when you're taking items is your bulk, which is like, hey, how much stuff can I actually carry on myself? And bulk 4 is pretty heavy. Like, that's the size of a normal weapon. Like a rifle or something like that is bulk 4. Yeah, being able to destroy your own equipment for some kind of benefit is 100% fine. Yeah, exactly. And it allows you to really improvise with it as well. Like, it may not be a grenade. It could be, as you say, a smoke grenade. It could be, it could be a... Ooh, like a little sonar device almost that is detecting moving people behind walls, and you can move it around and see through walls. I don't know. Maybe not. No, probably not, actually. That would need to be attached to the walls. And in fact, that already exists. What about some sort of subscription service where it can disappear a while and bring back something consumable? The downside being you don't have it until it gets back. I think that would fit within the tone. I was just trying to see if that would fit within the tone. It's essentially the Pathfinder... what's the feat called that investigators and all that can have? That's it. Prescient purchase. It's a good feature. And, you know, I regularly say that I dislike the rule set in Pathfinder quite a lot, but that one's a good feature. I like that. So yeah, I like that. Upgrade. Danube subscription. Danube. Hang on. Danube Senior subscription. Once per mission, the delivery drone can be dispatched to the nearest Danube. You know what? Let's call it Nile. I think people are going to get Nile better. Nile Senior to the nearest Nile. What would it be called? Nile Depot, I suppose. It returns at the end of your next turn, at the end of your team's next turn, with one piece of bulk to equipment of your choice. Null Senior, of course, is Amazon Prime. Just, I know it's obvious, but just in case. Yeah, I think that those three work. Like, not everything has to have the same number of upgrades. That works. Cabat says thermal camera attachment. Yep. Upgrade. All obvious things are not obvious to someone. I always make that assumption. I think you genuinely can't assume that everyone's going to get something. Upgrade advanced optics. The scouting drone can have your choice of thermal optics, night vision, optics, wall piercer optics, or 4x zoom optics. And I can put rules in for those, but I was going to put those in a separate optics area. Thermal optics can't see through walls, but can pick up people very well, including through fog and mist and cloud. Night vision optics can see not just people at night, but also walls and things like that. Wall piercer can see through walls using x-rays, and zoom optics can just see further away. There are already rules for how optics work on weapons, so I'll probably just borrow that. And you just choose one of those. Choose a mission start. And start. Choose a form of advanced optics. The drone is equipped with. Okay. So you just choose a mission start that I'm taking thermal optics on this one. Yeah, I think that makes sense. And I think the delivery drone is good. Maybe we don't need a weapon drone then. Because this is already a weapon drone. I suppose there's one with a gun on it could be good. And I don't mind that as a weapon. Like, under the combat rules, you can take a drone weapon, and maybe you've got 1 extra AP each turn that you can use to shoot with the drone. But it can be taken out. I think that seems fine. Yeah, I think that seems fine. Actually, this is the combat and non-combat equipment section. Like, they're not separated out. So I will add a combat drone. And this is bulk 4 as well. This is a big one. Combat drones are semi-autonomous. Autonomous. Are semi-autonomous. Battle-ready drones equipped with precision rifles and advanced optics. Let's not give him the optics to start with. Just precision rifles. So when I give a, shoot 1 AP. Take the shoot action, which is, I've got special rules about how shooting works, of course, because it's a gun game. Take the shoot action using the drone's weapon. Kind of only want it to be once per round. But I can do that by making the weapon single shot. Okay, that's good. Right, let's grab a... I think the sniper rifle is close to what I want it, how I want it to work, but obviously less damage. Whoop. There we go. So we're going to make this smaller. drone carbine. Okay. We don't need a two-handed tag on it. It is single shot. We are not going to give it any armor piercing. Single shot. It's just one extra shot that you can do. We're going to make it a D8. I think that's roughly equivalent to a rifle. D8. What do we do a crit with it? I don't think called shot. With a crit on a D8. What have I got on rifles already? Assault rifles. Accurate. Reroll one miss. That's not going to apply here because they're single shot. Stun? Not really. Weak point. +4 damage. That's not terrible. We could do weak point. We could do cool shot. But I think we're just gonna give it the old extra damage. Whoop, a little bit lower. There we go. Single shot, D8 crit, weak point. Okay. You don't get aim. We don't have a minimum range on it. We don't have any upgrades to the drone carbine. Take the shoot action using the drone's weapon. The shot originates in the drone's position. Could you give the combat drone an Overwatch option? Maybe that doesn't distinguish between friendlies and enemies. Something moves in the cone, it dies. Funnily enough, I've actually already I've already got that on the LMG, which is you doing like saturating fire, so anyone who walks into it is going to get shot. I don't know if I want to move it like Helldivers-y towards on the friendly fire. In general, I want the players to be feeling like they're in a power fantasy here, and then throw them against something that is just as bad. So I don't want that, like, there is a chance that they miss and they hit, you know, hostages and things like that, and that's why they've got to be careful. Well, I suppose they have the knowledge, right? I don't know. Something about it isn't vibing with me, but I haven't got the words to put it in as to why I'm not sure on it. It could be something to playtest. Like, when I'm not sure, the first instinct really should be to playtest it. Yeah, unsure. I'll think on it. As an upgrade, though, I'm going to say upgrade. The drone carbine loses single shot and gains semi-automatic, so you can actually fire using both your AP. No, that's not good. Shoot should be 0 AP. The drone upgrade. So Precision Springs is what it's going to be called. You can spend 1 AP to fire a second shot from the drone carbine. Or I just let you shoot twice. Two shots is not like a ton. Free round burst, maybe. The drone carbine loses single shot and gains burst free. It can only be fired once per turn. I mean, that's nice. Give it a free burst shot. I don't like, in general, giving additional separate shoot actions because combining them together into the same shoot action, first of all, requires that the target be the same person, which means that you're not pissing about a bit, waiting for multiple characters to do their stuff. The reason it needs to be specified, Envis, is that single shot is the rule that stops you from firing more than once per turn. I could put it on the action and just not have that. That wouldn't be terrible, honestly. But by putting it there, it makes it clear, I think. I mean, when I go to actually write it, I may not use tags like this because I worry that people are going to miss this in game and shoot twice with a single shot weapon. So, like, actual text might be better. Yeah, I mean, this isn't obviously anywhere near the final layout of what the actual thing will be. But, yeah, I'm unsure. Obviously, I've got, like, really bad pre-made character sheets already. Yeah, it's definitely something to fix when you finalize it. Like, these are bad. Good lord, these are bad. Hang on, let me find it. Where's it gone? And tabletop. Where's breach? It's not on a B. Oh, it's under writing. Yeah, of course, because I'm writing it. Breach. Is this the character sheet? I think this is the character sheet so far. So put your name in. You got attributes. Specialties were the old skill system, so you got a boon when you had this specialty. Your various talents, armor rating, and how that works. HP versus max, wounds, weapons, and all that. So really simple. And extremely misaligned because it just has to exist and work. And then just like rules that you might want to keep with your thing. So, for example, when I've been doing playtests, I've been using these character sheets. That was blank. There it is, Statler. And apparently Waldorf is blank, but Statler and Waldorf. So this is just how I've been keeping this along. And then rules at the bottom for tracking. It seems to work fine, but yeah. The final version will obviously not be anywhere near as rank. Yeah, it's functional. As I was saying to Rose the other day, never kern anything that you don't intend to keep. There's life is too short to be kerning stuff you might delete later. Combat drones semi-autonomous, battle ready. Okay, so we need their armor rating. AR is low, free. AR 3, speed 5, HP 10. Drones do not take wounds. If a drone's hit points hit 0, it is destroyed. Yep, that makes sense. So, for reference, characters in this run a little like Lancer mechs. When they hit 0, they lose a block of plot armor and then go back up to 10. Sort of. Other things happen as well, but it's sort of built around that. In this case, a drone is just gone. Is there a way to get wounds outside of HP hitting 0? I don't know yet. I don't want to say there isn't. Because I feel like there could be. Yeah. And so I would probably do it that way, just because there might be there's something I'm semi-working on at the moment, which is like combat events, which are ways to twist the battle as it's going on, semi-inspired by Draw Steel's Malice and things like that. But where is it? Here they are. Under tension and breach complications. So you build a small list of things that you can spend tension, essentially. So you're building a dice pool, you roll them, you sum up all the numbers there, and then you spend points throughout that mission or throughout that round. So you might roll, say, 7 on your tension, so you've got 7 points that you can spend, and you can spend them as the GM whenever you want. And so these are sort of basic ones, like you can just say someone's weapon is jammed. Or, you know, I really like start the clock. I think that's great. So it's like the example I give is what I was originally thinking of. You know, bullet grazes a propane canister, which is one of those weak movie canisters. You know, the gas is leaking out. Someone shouts that the can's gonna blow if you got patchy, you gotta get out of there, that sort of thing. And you now have a timer. And then that explosion is gonna go off, and it completely changes, obviously, the battlefield. There might be hostages near that canister. Or you know, you might be all near that canister and the enemy isn't, so the enemy can just sort of stay there and make pot shots at you as you move around. Car flip surrenders, leaking fuel, you know what's coming. Exactly. That sort of thing. Sudden disarmament. Yeah, you are so... I don't like the writing on this one. If the operative used the shoot action or the find action with a melee weapon, they are disarmed and their weapon skitters across the floor. I would say an operative who was just hit in shoot or fight actions is disarmed. So someone who's just been hit, their weapon's just flown off, and they're gonna have to like improvise. Luckily, improvised weapons, very powerful. This in Breach, improvised weapons are often more powerful than non-improvised weapons. You are deeply encouraged to be improvising with your weaponry, because and the really, really strong inspiration for this is Jackie Chan movies, right? It's all improvised weaponry. And it is always doing better than the non-improvised weaponry. Burst of speed. So you can apply this to enemies. The operative gains 1 AP. So this is like your boss has like suddenly got 1 extra action point, so they can just do another thing. This one is definitely for bosses. The operative regains all lost hit points. They probably spit out blood or wipe the sweat from their brow and crack their neck. Use it only once per operative. Hey, Iris, welcome in. Yeah, we love improvised weaponry. And then universal condition, just everything is subjected to something. So this is essentially the same as start the clock, but there's no timer. If improv weapons are better, doesn't that undermine gear being important? That's why there is no melee gear. With the exception of one, you can take a knife. You can take a knife, and it is a good idea because sometimes you might be in situations where there's nothing around that you can improvise with. You're meant to look at the map and go, okay, I will hit them with this. But if you're, you know, caught out and you're like, let's say you're in a kitchen, but you've managed to lock your... I don't know. A kitchen's terrible idea. There's so many improvised weapons. Let's say you're in the middle of a dance hall for some reason, right? And you're right in the middle. When you use an improvised weapon, it has to be in the square you're in or adjacent to you. So if you're in the middle of a dance hall, there might be nothing there. In that case, having a knife is going to be very helpful. Like the Netflix version of the Punisher. I've not seen the Netflix Punisher, but I'm thinking like, you know, John Wick is a good example as well. But you can absolutely use a melee weapon, but the improvised ones are usually going to be better in general. And yeah, there's definitely a benefit to taking melee weapons because again, you know you're going to have one available because you can sort of see it there. Guns and knives are great, but sometimes you're disarmed and all you have is an exercise weight in that guy's face. Exactly. I really like the improvised weapon rules in playtests. They've been working really well. Where is it? Oh, that's the... If I get to the math section, I know I've gone too far. There is nothing beyond there except me trying to make sure I've got probabilities right. Melee. Here we go. So you got your fists as well. You've always got your fists. You make 4 attacks, but you discard 1s and 2s. They are D4s, so you're going to be hitting with 3s and 4s. A 4 is a crit when you've got fists, which let you parry, which let you remove one of the target's hits. So this is Jackie Chan hitting someone, doing some damage, and getting rid of their ability to hit. Because when you do melee, you and your opponent are attacking at the same time. Whenever anyone enters melee, they're not getting away unscathed. You get in there and you're both trading blows. So using your fists means you can parry. So being unarmed is sometimes good in this case. Or you can do an environmental attack. It's melee 2, so you only do 2 attacks. So you roll two attack dice. And the damage depends on what's around you. I've put a swordfish in there because, as with all people who like action movies, I have played Sleeping Dogs, and you can impale someone on a swordfish in Sleeping Dogs. Great game, by the way. And yeah, you on the crit, you choose a condition based on what's going on. So, you know, it could be burn if you throw him in acid, or it could be blinded if you throw him in acid. It could, you know, it could be stunned or prone or restrained, things like that. So the environmental attack is really good, but remember that the enemy can do it to you as well, and the enemy's going to be striking back. Whereas what the knives do, which I think is still worth it, it's under equipment, under weapons, knives. They are melee 4. So first of all, they're more accurate than fists. They're going to hit on 2s, 3s, and 4s. Second of all, when you roll a 4, they do bleed, which is ongoing damage, essentially. And you have to bandage. There's no like saving throw or anything like that. You have to find a bandage. I should probably add bandages to the to the equipment list. And you can take a serrated knife if you want, and then it's like even more bleeding. So knives are still good. but certainly improvised attacks are good as well. And you know, you might want to do, because if you start adjacent to an enemy, you've got 2 AP, you can fight twice. You could do one with knives, and then the other one you can just use like the frying pan that's been on the hob, you know, smash someone's head into it, and things like that. Right, back to equipment. I need to put bandages on. I want to go back to, where is, I have some trauma kit. There we go. I'll put it next to that. Bandages. Bulk 1. Minister aid. Is this 1 AP? It's probably 1 AP. It's nowhere near as powerful as a trauma kit, for example. Let's call it staunch. There we go. Remove the bleed or burn. Let's call it triage. Staunch would only work on bleed. Remove the bleed or burn conditions from a target within 1 inch or yourself. And then for an upgrade, the brainworms are not happy with it. It's got aloe vera in it, it's fine. Put oil on it. It does not help. I know. It's fine. There's something up here called a trauma kit that just immediately fixes injuries on you. Like, it's not that accurate. Slap. No, hang on. PM. No, you know what? Well, fuck it. We can do superscript later when we're... Oh, that works, apparently. Slap TM, quick. Applicator. Triage costs 0 AP. Comes with free packs. In fact, let's just put that in the name. Free expandages. Otherwise, for one, that's just a waste of bulk. Because you could have a grenade instead. Remove the bleed or burn conditions from a target within 1 inch of yourself. Within 1 inch or yourself. I think that's good. So the difference between bleed and burn is bleed counts down, burn counts up. So a bleed... Does it count down? A burn gets worse constantly without treatment. And the bleed gradually doesn't, but by then you might be dead. I think it was. I had it written somewhere. Hang on, let me control F it. Let me control F it. Bleeds must be written somewhere. Damn it, did I not write it down? Oh, that's worrying. I should write everything down, really. Oh, I know where I put it. This is very silly. I put it on the new version of the character sheet, which I never made. Feels backwards to you? I feel like a burn being fire, effectively. Like, you are effectively covered in acid or on fire. Like you've not got a burn, you are burning. Is why you're getting worse. It could arguably do with a better name. And by arguably, I mean definitely. Whereas in general, bleeding does eventually stop itself. But I don't know. I might change that. Again, this is all stuff that will change up a little bit. Let me check. What did I have for bleed and burn? Yeah, I do have it. Bleed reduces itself by 1 at the end of once you take the damage. And burn increases it by 1 once you take the damage. In which case, I could probably put a little bit more on the knife. Like, make it bleed 4 or something. 4 is a lot. Well, I suppose if you're doing 4 attacks and each one does bleed 1, that's probably okay, because you'll probably hit on at least 2 of them, right? Oh, it's only on crit, though. You probably still crit relatively often. It's a D4, so you're critting 25% of the time, right? So that's probably okay. And you got 2 actions, so you could theoretically maybe do 2 free bleed a turn. I mean, that's fine. That's probably alright. Makes sense if it's an active effect burning you, not a singular burn injury. Yeah, it's definitely not a burn injury. It is a... You are burning. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I'll playtest the numbers on that. But yeah, it's probably okay. I've found so far the playtest has shown that in general, most of the weapons I fought would do too much damage didn't do enough, and most of the weapons that I fought would be underpowered were overpowered. So it's just the way things go. The most powerful weapon, the SMG. The least powerful weapon, the LMG. I was like, I need to buff this. This is absurd. So yeah, it always goes that way though. Yeah, and the LMG was numbers wise seemed pretty buff. Like, it is now auto 5, which means it's taking 5 shots every time you use the shoot action, and it had a D10, so you're rolling 5d10 every time you attack. And because you've got a D10, you have a much higher chance of going above the armor number. And the crit's an interesting little thing. Normally, only a miss deals damage to cover. So, miss shot, because I want miss shots to still matter. So they deal damage to cover, and they can potentially remove cover from you if they do enough damage. Here, a crit will also destroy the cover. So you're like really likely with a big machine gun to be taking out a lot of objects around, which is great, I think. I need to get rid of this and replace the upgrade, actually, because that is now just a standard action anyone with an automatic weapon can use. But yeah, originally I think it was... I made it 4d8s. And it was like, this is just not enough damage. 5 d10s was about right. AP1 also means that their cover value is effectively 1 lower than it would be. Their armor is effectively 1 lower, which means you're damaging them even more. So if someone's got an armor value of like 4, for example, you need to roll a 5 or higher to hit them. And then when you do, you're going to do whatever the number on the dice is, -4. Here, you need to roll a 4 or higher. And you know, that means it's easier to hurt heavily armored people. But someone with, like, a D6 weapon is barely ever going to hit, whereas you're going to be hitting more than 50% of the time, and you're making 5 rolls each time you hit attack. So the LMG should be good, but previously it was not working well. The assault rifle's great, especially with the tactical rail upgrade. Weapons can have an attachment by default. They can have 1 attachment or a scope. The tactical rail gives you 2 attachments on the same weapon plus a scope, specifically. Just because that's kind of the unique thing assault rifles do, is that they are very modular. Right. I did bandages. What was the next thing I wanted to do? Oh yeah, I've already used snap trigger here. What am I, Tom Bloom? If you're watching this, Tom Bloom, I'm sorry, but you do use the word skirmisher 200 times. Oh, I called it snap receiver. That's different. Honest. So I need to get rid of this because if you've got an automatic weapon, you can just do this. So got to get rid of that. And then find a different upgrade for this, for the LMG. The standard thing you take is a bipod for this, which gets rid of the heavy tag. Poor LMG started off the weakest and then had its stuff given to everyone. Well, we're going to give it something else. We're going to give it something else. What's something cool that you see LMGs doing in movies, right? It's always something cool. Usually it's like wild sprays of fire. And just like going absolutely ham on an area, right? I'm thinking like the Terminator 2 scene with Arnie and the minigun. And obviously an LMG isn't a minigun, but it sort of has the same fictional purpose. Endless ammo. I mean, yeah. Freakishly high accuracy. Yeah, maybe something like that. No, that seems like that's going into the sniper vein. You're talking tropes, not game ideas. Yeah, fair. What is an LMG? A light machine gun. Which is light as in it's lighter than the kind that you would put on a naval vessel. It's one of the heavier guns that you can carry. Which is always funny. An example of an LMG... have you watched Predator? You know there's that guy in like the cowboy hat... It's like big muscular guy in a cowboy hat who's like famously fires this gun constantly. It's got like belt-fed ammo. Yeah, like with an ammo belt. Exactly. That's an LMG. So like big, heavy machine guns, basically. But technically, an HMG is a different weapon. I could put tracer rounds in it. Interesting. What does the heavy tag do again? Shooting costs 2 AP. Okay, I can't do that. Ooh, I've had a weird idea. Tracer ammo. During a shooting attack, every critical miss grants you a boon. Boons cannot be used to re-roll critical misses. So the idea here is that you are refining your aim while shooting, because it costs 2 AP to shoot this thing and you're shooting the whole turn basically. And so you're looking at the tracer ammunition and where it's going, and that is in your critical misses. And that is then going to give you a boon. Now, boons mean you can re-roll a die. Normally, you would re-roll the critical misses, right? This is going to let you re-roll your normal misses. And there's another interesting thing, because critical misses are the ones that will go wide and potentially hurt someone else. You can't re-roll those anymore, so it becomes an interesting... quandary there. I suppose you shouldn't be firing the LMG towards a hostage anyway. So that's probably okay. That's probably fine. I think that works. I mean, it's not going to grant you too many. It's going to be 10%. And it's auto 5. Unless I just made it auto 8. You probably shouldn't be firing anything towards a hostage unless it's like a sniper rifle and you're shooting someone holding them. Exactly. Exactly. That's entirely why there's this chance every now and then that you critical miss and the bullet strays. And so you got to be careful when you are firing, get clear firing angles and shoot. Could be to increase the fire rate. Yeah. I mean, doing 5d10 in a round is not excessive at the moment, so we could upgrade that. Especially as everyone else is getting upgrades on top. Upgrade, what do we call this? Precision barrel. No, that sounds like accuracy. We could just call it snap receiver again. We're just going to keep calling it that. No. Machine... No. Nanometer... What do you call... Nanometer margin... Engineering. Probably not nanometer. Micrometer. Micrometer margin engineering. Nanometer would be Lancer. Micrometer margin engineering. The LMG gains auto 8. 8? 8! My keyboard is trying to nerf this gun every time. 8d10 is... I mean, if you roll hot and you're killing someone no matter what, right, with this? Oh, I know what it would be called. Engineers don't use micrometer. They do not call it that. Micron is what they use. I don't know why, but they call it a micron instead of a micrometer. It means the same thing. Micron margin engineering. There we go. Micron tolerance would be the name of it. Micron tolerance engineering. The LMG gains auto 8. There we go. It's fewer syllables. That's probably it. Yeah, that's probably it. I don't know what they say instead of centimeter. Do they say centon? It's silly. Oh. Hang on. It is because there is a device. Called a micrometer. METER. It's a calibrated screw. So in order to not have the confusion when you're talking about micrometers, they call it a micron. That makes sense. I mean, that makes sense. Okay. I'm happy with the LMG now. Until testing reveals it's still too weak or something. I mean, I don't mind the LMG turning out to be too weak during testing, because if anything deserves to have just absurd numbers attached to it, it's the LMG. Right? So if I have to buff the numbers, oh no, the LMG just sounds even more fun. Because it wasn't not fun to use, it was just, I was amazed at how much damage the SMG was putting out in comparison. Okay, because I think the problem is this. It's spray one is what I should say. It's a spray weapon, and a spray weapon means it's a cone, and you make an attack against everyone in the cone. And so you do a d6 against each person. The downside is you can't focus fire on one person, but you know, you get to you get to hurt a group pretty well. Like, shotgun does the same for this. Obviously, this is movie shotgun, not real life shotgun. I think weapons we're fine. We've got enough weapons to do a playtest. Equipment, I still need more. I need more environmental equipment. Stuff that is going to allow you to use the environment to your advantage. Something like the Knock 2 shaped charge. This detonates and blows up a wall. Because everything is meant to be destroyable. And another one is the sound amplifying triangulators. You place these on walls, and you can see anything within the triangle formed by these three discs. So if you can get around the building, you can like cover most of it, and then you can see through the walls, essentially. Because there are rules for shooting through walls in this. It's you just do it most of the time. Wallbang is fine. You gain a blunder. What was it called again? Fuck, it's already gone from my mind. I'm calling them blunders for now until I can remember what they're actually called. Was it a blunder? A burden. That's it. You gain a burden on all shots that you make that are against targets you can't see, which is why good optics work for you and things like that. The sound amplifying triangulators do not let you see someone. They let you know where they are, but you don't see them. So you don't lose the burden when you're using them, but you can now reliably aim at them. We've got the climb kit, that's good for getting around. We've got a collapsible ladder, that's also good for getting around. Optical fiber scope lets you see under a door. No Molotov / incendiary. I think I've got them under grenades. Do I have them under grenades? I do not. Incendiary. Creates a 2-inch area of fire. Operators. We need to stop using creatures. There's D&D talk coming out. Operators. Operatives. Even operatives. Operatives that start their turn or enter the area. Gain burning 1. Gain burn 1. And that's the one that ticks up. Honestly, I might be able to make that 4 inches. That's diameter, not radius. So 4 inches, 20 feet. 20 feet seems quite a lot, actually, for a incendiary. There, ticking up makes sense. You're on fire. That's what burn is meant to be. Burn is meant to be you are literally burning. You are literally on fire, or there is acid eating away at you, or various other things like that. You know, you're covered in radioactive sludge, if this is a very 80s sort of thing. Things like that. Yeah. It is not you have received a burn. That would just be damage. It is you are in serious danger of dying if you don't deal with this thing. Sort of thing. Yeah. I think that's fine. Yeah. I wonder, what about like a foam grenade, like an not an expanding foam one, but one that... No, that's effectively taking the job of smoke. Fire extinguisher. Yeah, I'm wondering if that's too specific. And it might be. Like the foam grenades from the finals. Yeah, I was wondering, what about, you know, something that slows people down, that creates, like, difficult terrain on the ground. Caltrop grenade? Same brain, Brie. Same brain. Oh, should be 4. Where your brain went to, Negus. Yeah. Means area of caltrops. Operatives that enter... Operatives that move in the area gain bleed 2. Upgrade those fancy ones for popping vehicle tires. It might be. Honestly, I have thought that if this ever takes off and it needs supplement, the first supplement will be vehicles, because I feel like chase sequences and stuff like that would work really well with this rule set. And the idea that vehicles, you know, there's got to be a chopper involved, right? It's fucking, you know, it's 90s movies. There's big potential there. So maybe then it makes sense. An upgrade for this could simply be upgrading the amount of damage it does. This doesn't technically slow people down, but it sort of realistically does, because they don't want to move through the area if they can avoid it. So I think it's sort of doing this. I don't know. It's not that different from incendiary, I suppose. That's the worry. I suppose you don't have to move. You could stand still and you'll be okay. I'm going to increase the size. I'm going to lower the size of that one. What if they only take the damage if they move at least 2 inches? Well, that could work. Yeah, because the really powerful thing is locking down movement here, because if you... The use case I'm seeing here, because there's a huge amount of tactical flexibility in how initiative works in this, because you all go at the same time on your team. So you could have someone use the caltrops, they toss it, that's action 1. Action 2, someone with an LMG shoots at the person who's stood in the caltrops. Maybe they're behind some cover. That destroys the cover. That person's now out in the open. If they move, they're taking bleed 2. Or they stay there and they're getting shot to death. So I don't know. That might actually be plenty as it is. With the sort of the way you can combine it. An upgrade to make it removable. Made of a special reagent or something. Big fucking magnet. I'll leave the upgrades off on the consumables for now. I don't know how much I want to do that. Otherwise, you just eat the 2 bleed and move through it anyways. Yeah, that's true. Well, okay, maybe we make it a little weaker. Gains bleed 1 for every inch moved in the area. So once they're out of the area, it's okay. But while they're in there, bleed 1, bleed 1, bleed 1, bleed 1. And I think that differentiates it nicely from the incendiary, because the incendiary is going to get worse and worse. The caltrop is an immediate problem for you. And also, there are a couple of forced movements abilities that would be fun when combined with caltrops. Or incendiaries. I think that might be too large, if anything. 3 4x4. Because usually these fights are in tight spaces. Let's do 3 inches. Yeah. Okay. I'm happy with that. Oh my god, yeah, you could throw both grenades in the same place. Flaming caltrops. Absolute hell combo. I like the sound of that. You're usually only taking about 2 grenades on the full mission, so they do have to be powerful, and I think they are. But there is... Oh yeah, that's right. Grenades explode at the start of your team's next turn, which gives the person who's got a grenade next to them time to react to it. They get 1 round, basically, to react to the grenade being there. Classic. Yeah, obviously. Grenade comes through, someone shouts, there's a grenade, take cover and stuff. But you can still use that as... you know, you can still combo that. Because if someone would, like, I keep mentioning the LMG, but if someone's got an LMG and they set up an Overwatch action, which is basically the same as XCOM's Overwatch, if someone moves in your line of sight, you can shoot them. And then you throw a grenade. They're like, there's a grenade here. If I move, I'm getting shot by an LMG. If I don't move, I'm exploding. And so you set up these awful decisions that the characters have to make. And of course, the enemies can do exactly the same. Or throw it back. Yeah. I haven't actually put a rule in for throwing back grenades, but I don't see why not. Can you cook a grenade? No. I'm going to say no on this one, just because I think having the option to cook a grenade is going to increase the likelihood of really fucking over your entire team. And in comparison, having a grenade and then like running away from it is more in tune with the tropes I'm trying to curate in the game, I think. You don't really see anyone cook a grenade in an action movie much. It's mainly a gaming thing, really. Like, there's always that split-second reaction of grenade, get down, etc., etc. I gotta wonder if getting down really helps at all with a grenade. If they're doing that, it's more like a we all died at this moment. Yeah. Grenade explodes in your hand, everyone's on fire, and you're dead. That sort of thing. I think this is pretty good. I think we're basically there. I want some more equipment for the approach section. But the approach section isn't just equipment, it's like info and things like that, so it doesn't need a ton. Honestly, it might be time for me to playtest this with a group. Which deeply worries me. I don't know how Ben does it. I do not know how Ben sits down, writes an RPG in a week, and then has people playtesting it within a week. How the hell? Where does he get off making games so well? I know, right? Incredible. Absolutely incredible. And I know that this is like a hefty chunk of stuff all happening at once. Like, I could have done something smaller, which might have made it easier. But even then, I'm not doing it in a week like Ben does. I know, that's just wild. It's the TTRPG equivalent to web novel, right? Wildbow? What is that? To web novel... Oh, writer. I missed a letter when I was reading it. Wildbow. I'm not familiar with that person. Normally I'm familiar with most of the web things. I'm looking them up. Oh my god. Okay, yeah. He wrote his first novel. He wrote his first web novel at like a short novel's length per chapter once a week. Incredible. It's like who is it? The Mormon writer. I know that doesn't narrow it down, but there's the fantasy one. Again, that doesn't narrow it down. The one who isn't a bigot, which probably narrows it down. Or as far as I know, isn't a bigot. Not the one who wrote Twilight. Damn it, I'm blanking on his name. He's a really big writer. He's huge right now. Brandon Sanderson. That's it. Brandon Sanderson. During lockdown, wrote 6 novels. Like during I think it was the first lockdown. Wrote like 6 novels and released them to everyone for free. Wild. It's always wild to me that there are still a few people who can write like Stephen King. And apparently without the cocaine. To just sit down and just write and write and write. Incredible. I mean, it helps having a paid editor. That definitely helps. Hey, Bunya Man, welcome in. And welcome in the Bunya Man's viewers. We're writing a TTRPG. At the moment, I say we. I am. People are giving suggestions and I'm then writing it. Kodo, no. Damn it, Kodo. But yeah, welcome in. This is something I've been working on for a year, I think. A year, maybe half a year, called Breach RPG. It is designed to sort of emulate like action movies, like 90s action movies sort of thing. Things like Die Hard, Jackie Chan movies, a little bit of John Wick, that sort of vibe. So we've been working on like equipment and such like that, and of stuff. Iris says, I'm watching Nick write a TTRPG that he will kidnap me to play a 6-session campaign for. You know it, Iris. I'm genuinely shocked that you have yet to kidnap yourself for the new one I'm working on. Hey, Hugs, welcome in. Happy birthday, ADHD. Wow, thank you. Suggesting that the zip tie should have an option to be a sex thing. Not in this rulebook, but you know, if it gets huge and someone wants to write a sex supplement, Kodo, you know I'm going to ask you to write the sex supplement. Neo gets no. I thought I could. I was about to say I thought I could trust you, but yesterday was Tomato Way. It happened yesterday to me. Okay, I don't think I can't trust you. I know this now. I know this. Strange game. Supplement sex? Yeah, I'll have some of that. You're getting that vitamin D, Kodo. We'll have a D&D style breeding chart. It will. When have you ever avoided an opportunity to wish me a happy birthday? Shut up. Ooh, Nightbreed. Rest well. Rest well. Yeah, Kodo, one of the D&D, I don't know if it's an official supplement, but it was certainly a like licensed product. Had a breeding chart of like which species could have kids with other species. But having said that, Kodo, if anyone knows their way around it, like data visualization on breeding, it's you. Yes, your bar charts and pie graphs. Oh dear. I still think you should call it the cream pie graph. Luckily, Tomato Way is a unique gem that other games just don't hit right. It is certainly unique. Wild for a series to start as an FPS, then do a Dark Souls, and then go back to being an FPS again afterwards. But yeah, I think I'm at the point where I need to set up a playtest. The maths mostly holds up. It's been working in private games where I've just been running it for myself, essentially, and running it through and just making sure the rules make sense. According to the chart, Nymph and Fiend can breed with anything. That makes sense. That makes sense to me, just intrinsically. Nick, is that really what you found wild about that experience? I think there were other things, but my brain has removed them. Okay. Yeah, I don't know if there's anything else that's needed at this point. Because one of the things playtesting will kick up is, like, it'll let me know what equipment is missing. Because someone will go, hey, I want to make a character who has this. How do I do that? Hug says, is that because you can only remember one thing at a time? I wish at this point. Yeah, I think we're basically there. I think the first playtest will be... there's no chance I'm streaming it. I'll tell you that. It'd be guaranteed imbalanced. And I think people will have a frustrating time. I don't think they're going to... Unless they've playtested a TTRPG before, I don't think they're going to quite understand how bad it is going to be. Although I'll couch that with saying, like, when I tested it last time I tested it, and I was running it through with just myself, I was enjoying it. I was actually having fun. Which I know that to use the word actually is weird, but when you've spent all the time writing it, usually you're not having that much fun running it or playing it. Because you already know how it all goes, right? It's like game developers don't really enjoy playing their own games much. So yeah, I'm hopeful. I am hopeful. I think I'm onto a winner. I think it certainly works better than the previous RPG I was writing, which was a more sort of fantasy-style RPG, which used the same core rule set at the base of this. Worked a little differently, but I just think this works better for range attacks than it does for melee, which is why this has a different melee system. You roll to offer the terrorists $1 to let us in. You roll to offer the terrorists $1 billion to let us in. Which is the thing you've made a special point of telling to Ben. Yes, this is fun. That's good, because I accidentally, obviously, snooped in on you playtesting it. Because I'd completely forgotten that you were going to be doing that, and then I was like, "Oh, some people are chatting in the general channel. What's going on?" So I was like, "I'll hop in and say hi." But it seemed good. It seemed good. Like when I was reading it, when I was reading Ben's playtest one originally, I was like, "This, I don't yet see the game in it." Like I see certainly a narrative experience that you can have. Like, to me, it was running down on the vibes of a journaling game, almost. Like, you know, those collaborative storytelling experiences that don't have much game rules behind it. Like, it has rules, but it didn't have much push and pull on the mechanics, really. And then when I was sitting here, I was like, oh no, this makes a bit more sense now. And, you know, that's one of the things of, like, when you're just reading a game instead of playing it, it's just the huge difference. Did need a little bit of gamification to it. Yeah, I hear Ben's doing that as well, and like really accentuating that. Yeah. I just don't know how he does it. I don't know how he writes a game in like a month and comes up with some really cool ideas and is ready to playtest it in a month. I do not understand. This is like that. I don't know if you've seen The Interview series. I don't think it was a full interview series. It was just one interview, but between George R.R. Martin and Stephen King, where George R.R. Martin is just like, how do you do it? How do you silence the part of your brain that tells you you're an awful writer and you should put everything down and write? And Stephen King just looks at him confused and says, I just write. I was like, I do not know how Ben does it. I really don't. It's incredibly impressive. For those of you unfamiliar, I'm talking about Ben Newbin's games. He made Cybertopia and Overgrown, both of which I've streamed some of on here, and he's working on a new game right now. Very good. Like, the rule set in Overgrown, I think he came up with. I don't think it was based on anything. Like, obviously, it's very, you know, it's perfectly reasonable and okay to start your RPG based off of another RPG's rule set, provided, you know, legal reasons aside. You know, plenty of games allow you to do that. Forged in the Dark is the program for basing something off of the Blades rules, for example, right? And that's good. You should do that. You should not do what I have just done, which is from scratch examine every convention of RPG making and decide if we need it or not. You don't need to do that. You can just start with Blades in the Dark or something like that, or Fate or whatever. But I don't think Ben did that either. And he's still putting out games at such a remarkable rate. It's very impressive work. Very impressive work. And I think the rule system for Overgrown, which is what Cybertopia is based off of, I think. No, Cybertopia came first, I think. Overgrown came second. But they use the sort of same underlying rule set. It's simple, but it's so good. It works so well. And it's really easy to remember. It's really easy to build a character for, and it's really fun to continue playing with it. Fantastic. How does he do it? And yet here I am talking about like fucking grenade launchers and how they work. And he was just like, no, you could be a raccoon who's got like, I don't know, electric eel tail. Sure. Here's the rules. Done. It's 2 sentences and it works. Just shockingly elegant rules. When a rule works really well for a broad set of approaches that it's aiming to do and is very simple, that's what you got to aim for. That's what you got to aim for. And it's one of the things I don't like about Pathfinder, because a lot of their rules are very nitpicky. If you can have a broad rule that just works, like Ben's rules, that's the ideal. Overgrown is to me the platonic ideal of a game. It really is. Just fantastic. A similar one is High Magic Low Lives, which is more complex, but it certainly maximizes fun and maximizes interest out of the rules that it puts in there. It's got some extras that are silly and not needed. You know, you really need to choose your alignment, which is between goth and prep and jock and nerd? No. But that's just there to... That's not really there for the game. That's there for the mood. It's there to make sure you're in the right frame of mind when you're making a character. Anyway, we've hit 3 hours. I'm back tomorrow. What am I doing tomorrow? It's peak crowd control. Peak crowd control. Which is going to be wonderful. Got a group of people ready to make my life miserable. And you are all invited to make my life miserable as well. You will be able to control the game via the crowd control extension. And I'll be setting up the prices to make it relatively easy to do that. I'm going to make some things a little bit more expensive than it would normally be if I was doing like a Skyrim one where everything is free. But it's you will get some free coins that you can use and it will still be fine. It's just some of them are just like instantly end the game, basically. I'm not doing a solo climb, no. I'm going to be joined by Goggles. I'm going to be joined by Talia. Who else is joining? Rose? Maybe? Oh, I think Rose was saying maybe before that. Was it Luke? Hang on, let me have a look. It wasn't you, Embers, was it? When did I ask about that? God damn, everyone's talking about stealing my kneecaps. Oh, it was you, Envis. Fuck. It was you. You were the first person to reply. You posted, "You son of a bitch, I'm in." Apparently. Yeah. We are disasters. Nigga says I'll try to drop around for the hour before you're playing Abiotic Factor. Oh, I hope you're enjoying Abiotic Factor. I really liked that. So yeah, that's gonna be Friday. I've also got a new stream to announce on the Friday next week. It's gonna be a great one. It's technically a Nick Attempts, actually. Technically a Nick Attempts. Me and Catbat, and I think we're going to be joined by Rose, are going to be starting a restaurant in Cooking Simulator 2, which is a co-op version of Cooking Simulator. The devs reached out and gave me a couple of free keys, so we're going to be playing that on Friday night. And yeah, you can already predict how that's going to go, right? I don't know what's happening on Thursday. There's a chance I will be doing another AAA Initiative style stream, if they ever get back to me. There's a chance they don't get back to me at all. I've messaged them. They might not reply. It's fine. If not, I'll probably chill. Maybe do this again, do more prep or whatever. But there's a chance I'll be doing another game showcase. We'll see. We'll see. But yeah, I think that's me. I'll see you all tomorrow for peak crowd control. It's going to be amazing. And I don't know, maybe Saturday we'll do some what I regularly call the Saturday night disaster gang. If people are around, my D&D game's been moved to Sunday, so I'm available. Don't know what we'll do. I'm enjoying, well, I suppose the update for Super Battle Golf literally just came out. So maybe we will do Super Battle Golf again, actually. But I don't know. There's plenty of other games. I really want to try that Cursed game. Curse Words. Cursed Companions. I saw Bunyip playing, what was it, 4 nights ago? Something like that? 2 nights ago? And I was like, oh, that looks very fun. I might pressure people into seeing if they want to get that and give it a go, because that did sound very fun. There's so many new ones right now. Right? So many new ones. I don't know if you saw the Cursed Companions one, but basically you all have a forbidden word. Each of you has a different forbidden word, and if anyone in the group says the word, you will take damage. And you're going around this old house, and there's like content warning style monsters in there, but each of those are defeated by saying different types of things. Like the foul moth is beaten by swearing. Oh no, you can't swear around the foul moth. And that sort of thing. And you can also pick up spells that are like certain sentences that do things. I think the trailer included a healing spell that was like let mummy take care of it or something like that. And you've got to say that in order to heal someone. So it sounds like a really, really fun game. Right? And I really, really, really want to get a couple of people together for that. So I might see if I can try and get that set up for Saturday if people are around and up for it. But yeah, otherwise that's me done. Yeah, Cursed Companions. Yeah, I really want to try it. I really enjoyed watching Bunya play it. Yeah. It looked great. Oh shit! Sorry, I've just been informed in the general chat by Rose, everyone, because Graveyard Keeper 2 was just announced. Graveyard Keeper 1 is free on Steam at the moment, so maybe go get that. I'm going right now, like live on stream, because I've been interested in Graveyard Keeper for a while. It is 100% off. Just fucking grab it. Add it to your account. There you go. That's what you get when you turn up to his Cursedness.tv. You get a free game every time. Guaranteed. It's not guaranteed. Please don't come back expecting a free game. Yeah. Go check that out. Right, that's us done. That's us done. I don't think there's anyone to raid. I'm nattering because I've been talking a lot today. Yeah, I don't think there's anyone to raid. Yep. It's guaranteed if I keep looking up permanently free games. Well, true. If it says it's close to guaranteed if you get good clips. That's true. There is a clip competition. If you clip it on Twitch, post it in the top clips and all that. The most viewed clip each month, whoever made that, unless it's me, in which case it's second most viewed or whatever, gets a free game. They get a free video James. This month's rewards are Raw Jurassic Edition. So if you're the top clipper, you'll get Raw Jurassic Edition. Basically what this is I've bought a lot of Humble Bundles in my time. For like, and I have not redeemed a lot of these games. So I'm like, hey, grab one. I may as well hand them out, and some of them are like games I already owned and the duplicates and were in a bundle and things like that. But this is where they're coming from. So yeah, clip away. Right, I'm finally ending this. I am finally ending this. So yeah, see you tomorrow. Crowd control, peak. Envis might be there if they've remembered. Goodbye.